Hey everyone, I wanted to talk today about a great place to be using data analytics in the recovery audit process. Not uncommon for recovery auditors to be looking at, hey, how can we be leveraging large data sets, data analytics to be more efficiently performing our recovery audit work? Well, one insight I received from Rich Lanza, and I'll give credit to him, he's the author of Cost Recovery. Had a podcast with him earlier this year, went to a summit with him, and he does a great job of highlighting that data analytics should really be used and utilized at the beginning of an audit, really in the planning phase of an audit. Of course, it can be used throughout, but today I want to talk about how do we utilize data analytics in the planning phase of an audit. So, going back to the 80s, going back to the 90s, recovery audits were performed very manually. People were looking at often paper copies of invoices, paper copies of purchase orders, paper copies of payments, going through each individual transaction. That ended up being very time consuming. It also meant that a lot of stuff wasn't covered. It was very difficult to get through the entire population of what a retailer or even a commercial company does in transactions in a year. So not everything got covered. What data analytics allows us to do in a recovery audit is be able to kind of heat map where we think dollars can be found, right? So at the beginning of an audit, before you even put together your individual tests, and even if it's a recurring audit that you're doing year in and year out, take a step back and do some data analytics. Look for where you see discrepancies and data that doesn't make sense. Look where you see significant changes in patterns, either up or down when it comes to pricing, rebates, promotions, anything else. Use that to be able to put higher risks in certain areas and risk score categories so that when you actually perform your audit work, you're spending your time in the highest ore. You're spending your time in the area that's most mineral rich. This is a common approach for all kinds of audits. When you move outside of the recovery audit world and you talk about financial audits that are done for example, US GAAP purposes, this is done. IT auditors are sent out before the financial auditors come in. Other risk auditors are sent out before the financial auditors come in to be able to ask questions, review data, and do analytics on a high level to determine where are the largest risk areas and where should we spend most of our time. By doing that in a recovery audit, and I don't see that done as well in the recovery audit world, by doing that in a recovery audit, one, we make sure that we're spending our time on the stuff that's most material, in the sense that if you're working for a client, you're finding the issues, the errors that are most material and affect their business the most. But two, the things that are most significant to process improvement. You're helping to identify the issues that are more systemic, that would be more prone to be able to have system and process changes to be able to resolve them moving forward. So, said simply, you'll be able to recover more dollars and you'll be able to close more gaps and larger gaps for your client, or if you're working within an organization doing a recovery audit for your organization. So, tip of the day is utilize analytics at the beginning planning phase of an audit to make sure that you are spending your time, that your team's spending your time on the best issues, have the most opportunity for identifying discrepancies that you can then recover and obviously ultimately close those gaps. Hope you guys are having a great holiday season. Appreciate your time, and thank you. Bye.